What happened to shift you out of it?
I started to interact with my internal world, and it became very obvious to me that something was happening that neither science nor philosophy could explain.
And how old were you at this time?
About 11.
And what kind of experiences were happening?
I prefer not to go into details about this, Mark, but I'll say it was like a reunion with my inner tribe. And I became reacquainted with the reason I incarnated at this time.
Is this when you got the idea for Wingmakers and Lyricus?
And there is always a seed vision for this type of work.
Mm-hmm.
The seed was given to me through the dream state, and it was my intuitive awakening to the seed that began to bring it forward into my life. It was not like some angelic being sat at the foot of my bed and dictated this vision to me, or pronounced me as one of the chosen few, or that it was clear to me in the span of a single moment or even day. It was the simple, gradual awakening to the vision and why I had come to this planet within the human instrument. Some artists refer to this muse as the means through which they gain their inspiration or access their vision, their artistic vision. And from my perspective, the muse is one's higher self, or presence. It is not an outside force.
Yeah, is this the time that the Wingmakers project started to crystallize?
It was about this time, yes, but the real impetus for my work came from experimentation, and by this I mean honing the crafts of poetry, music, composition, painting, writing, and looking at each of these expressions as extensions of myself, my higher self. I knew this would come forward only if it was aligned with the mission I came to serve. At an early age, I had begun to paint. I was quite good at it. But by the time I was 11, I had begun to see my art as more than painting. It became a symbol of the higher frequencies I was in contact with, and as a result, everything else flowed, including the poetry, the music, philosophy, the writings. The paintings became the conductor of the project. Around the time I was 15, I became aware that my experimentation on how these different art forms could be brought together was designed to serve the mythology of the Wingmakers. I understand that the concept of the Wingmakers as a future representation of humankind is difficult to believe for many people. But the word Wingmakers is an encoded word that symbolizes this reality, that a future composite of humanity can indeed interact with its past existence. It's like the symbol of eternity, the Ouroboros, the snake that eats its own tail. The Wingmakers chose me as an interpreter of that reality, our future reality. It's not, in a sense, about their lifestyle or technology, but rather the mere existence, and the existence of the grand portal. As it pertains to human destiny, because it's through the grand portal that we, in a sense, reunite with our future selves.
Mm-hmm. Did they give you instructions on what to do or what to create?
No, they did not. They simply brought me into their presence as an invited guest to experience to the best of my ability their vibrational world and the culture therein. Outside of time-space, I'm from the same world, as we all are. Yet very few of us have experienced it, let alone heard of this other reality called our distant future.
Mm-hmm. How would you describe this? Because to me, it's a very hard proposition to get my mind around.
It's a hard thing to describe, Mark. It's a little like an immense line of humans winding its way from the depths of the desert floor to a towering mountain top. And those at the top of the mountain, they have a video camera, and they pass this miraculous view of the larger world that they see down the line, so that those on the desert floor and every step in between can experience the inspiring view that beckons all of them to ascend, to climb into new territories or new dimensions. It's about as close as I can come to describing it with words, Mark. The future of humanity extends much further on the space-time continuum than its origins arise from history. Why would it seem improbable that our future selves could communicate to our space-time in the 21st century, and not with technical interventions, but simply through the empowerments of a higher, a more encompassing consciousness? One of the truths that will shock humanity in some not too distant future will be the realization that our future collective interacts with our present form much more than we realize. This is a complex subject, Mark, unto itself, because many of the so-called interactions with the Creator and angelic beings or Spirit are really interactions with our future selves. It's a collective consciousness. This collective consciousness is symbolically called Wingmakers, or in some distant time, the Elohim, or Shining Ones. But regardless of the name you put to it, it is the quantum collective consciousness of the human species in a far distant space-time, reaching into ours.
How does this happen that our future selves can contact us, but none of the materials on the planet talk about it? I mean, it seems like our holy books or some gurus would be talking about this. Why is it missing from the spiritual literature?
Well, again, the Wingmakers live in mythology. It's a little like the quote attributed to Willie Sutton when he was finally captured. The FBI agents supposedly asked him, "Why do you rob banks?" And Willie said, "Well, because that's where the money is." Well, the Wingmakers live in mythology because that's where the story lives. Information, you see, lives and dies in very short life cycles, like a mayfly whose adult lifespan is measured in minutes. But mythological stories, they live for thousands of years, are translated into hundreds of languages and cultures, and their pulse is just as strong today as it was 1,000 years ago, if you study them.